Hey, welcome back to my channel. This is Christina at Homeschooling Grace, and today is another weekly update for weeks 18 and 19. Yay! Oh my. Okay, so we've started. Let's just go over how's everybody doing. Let me know down below how you're doing with all this isolation and quarantine and shelter at home, and how's it going for you guys? I feel like I'm kind of on an emotional roller coaster. I have my good days, I have my bad days. We had a lot of rain here in the Pacific Northwest, and that made it dreadful, actually. It was so gloomy and it was so hard because we were stuck in the house, and then we started getting these little coughs. They were just a cold, nothing scary. But I couldn't let my girls then go out back and play because the ones with the small cough, it would like make it worse. And so we were just stuck in the house. And so there was a lot of TV and school whenever we could. And we're also in another difficult stage. My youngest is definitely in that difficult toddler stage of trying to school, and she just wants to take all the girls' papers, or she wants to chew on their pencils, or take their pencils, or, you know, draw on their papers, tear up their papers. It's just very difficult. So I'm going to actually make a video soon here about how to homeschool with a toddler, because it is not easy. I can testify. It's not easy at all. It's very hard. So I wanted to share with you really quick also. Okay, this is a little book that we found in our garage. Happiness is a Warm Puppy. And there was one that was so sweet to me. Okay, because my friend did this. She stopped by. Happiness is finding someone you like at the front door. That's sweet. Definitely. My friend stopped by and brought us bread, and we social distanced. We didn't hug or anything, but that was like the highlight to my day today. She stopped by to bring me bread, and I got to say hello in person, and oh, it just made me so happy. And when I read that, I was like, yes, it's so true. Charles Schulz, yes, so much. So anyways, that's a cute little book. Okay, so let's dive into the curriculum. I've got curriculum all around me, and I've got allergies. My nose is itchy. Okay, I think I'm going to start with my preschoolers today because I've got a lot of fun new things to share with you, and just some fun books that I'm excited about that we're going to read in the next couple weeks here. We are so we're week 18, 19 for everyone else, but for my preschooler, we're to week 7, and we're learning about ducks. And we have this big bath time duck, and so he has been sitting, or she, I don't know what she thinks she is. This one's been sitting on her desk during school time, and it's kind of fun to have with us. Okay, so week 7, she made her little poster, and we did our color hunt. Oh, where is it? Right here. Find yellow, and she's learning about yellow, and she's also learning about patience. And so we have been playing, let me grab it. Okay, to learn patience, this is a great game to play with your preschooler. I think we don't actually play it by the rules. We just take turns putting them in the discs. We take turns putting in the discs, and it works perfectly for these weeks because she can be the yellow, and that's the color she's learning. And then she has to be patient, take turns, and we're learning about sharing or waiting our turn. And so anyways, that's been a fun game to add in. And I've actually played that one with all of them at this lesson because it just makes it fun for that patience learning. She also made her little shape card. And so this one was supposed to be yellow, but it slowly turned to different colors, but that's preschooler for you. Okay, and then I wanted to share what books we read and what we're going to read, and because I know everyone's stuck in their houses and the libraries are closed, and so these are ones just from my bookshelf. So I know that you will have different ones, but just get creative. Like, I will literally just scan my bookshelves for any books on the topic I need, and typically I can find at least one. So this is one we read this week, Make Way for Ducklings. I love this book. And we also read Hide and Seek Duck. This is by Cindy Zecharis? I don't know. Zecharis? Anyways, it's just, they're both just really sweet little books. So she liked those for this week for our lunchtime. And then I found these ones that we're going to read for this next week. I didn't know we had this one. It's a little chapter book. But I thought for lunchtimes we could take a few days to read this one. A Duck for Keeps. It might be a little old for her, but my other girls will enjoy it. Ducks. Farm animals. And then I found The Hungry Duckling. So, and if I find more books on ducks, I'll share them in my next video. Okay, I had one last thing to share about hers. So, I went to the Target dollar spot. I had to go to Target to get allergy medicine. I couldn't remember. And so I was like, oh, I'll just stop by the dollar spot and see what they have. And they had a couple of fun things to add. So this, we already had. This is our big rice sensory bin that's been a big hit during these rainy days. But they had this little train set. And if you look on it, it's a bunny driving. And it's for Easter. So there's like chocolate and Easter eggs and jelly beans. But I figured I could cut the other little characters out and put them on here if I want to be really creative. I haven't done that yet, but you could if you wanted to. Or I thought even like if you're really artistic, you could paint these and put the other animals on them or something, or put maybe like the colors. You could just paint them the colors. That'd be a good idea that they're learning about. And then it's got the whole little, it's got a little train, and then what else does it have? It had a little, what is this? Jelly bean station. Okay, and little trees, and then a little mountain. And I just thought that was really fun to add to our rice bin, and especially since it's the bunny. I wish I had this at the beginning of the year, especially with learning about trains and stuff. So anyways, if you go to Target, and since it's still got a week before Easter, if you're watching this like the day I put it out. If not, then sorry. They're probably not there anymore, but if you are, that's a fun little addition to add. And this is not required in any way. It's just a fun thing. Okay. So that was my preschooler. Okay, moving on. Okay, my pre-Ker, she is doing Voyage of Discovery, and this is week 18 and 19. So I'm going to kind of just do a general for both weeks of what we did. Okay, so for her Bible, she learned about Elijah, and then she learned about Naaman. Those were the two big stories that stood out to me. And so sorry, I keep looking back. My stuff is back there. We pulled this one out again because there was finally stories again that were in here. We've got Elijah's story. And then Naaman's story. We're both in here. And how he dipped. And so, anyways, I just love when I can pull this book out. I had this as a child, and I mean, I loved it then, and I love it now. We've actually have 2 copies of it, and I run the nursery at my church, and I have a copy for our church nursery because I think it is such a fun Bible story book, and the pictures are just so sweet. So anyways, so for the Naaman, so to kind of help bring more life to the Naaman story, we used this little lacing guy, and we made our own little Naaman, and I let her use this, the do-a-dot, and she got to make him all sick looking, and then we dipped, like we were dipping the 7 times. I retold the story, and then he came out clean, but I mean, obviously you can see the dots on the back. But I just thought that was a neat visual for them to see, like, oh, he gets clean, and it's just a great way for them to learn that story and to remember it. Oh my word, I keep dropping everything. Okay, we also made, there's a bread recipe in here. It's a pumpkin bread recipe, and it was really yummy. So my oven, actually, when we made this, my oven was broken, and so I remembered, like, I have my bread machine that, like's been up in my, cupboard forever. So we pulled that down, and we made bread, and I will try and put some pictures here. I think I have one, maybe, of us making it, but it was really yummy bread. So don't skip it if you get to this week. Make the bread. So I'm going to just do both the letters. So for letter L, I found these at Dollar Tree. There was llama stickers. Again, this was before we were in shelter in place or anything. We're actually to week 22. So, but those were cute. The Dollar Tree's still open if you need to get some, something essential. Okay, and then for M, this is for week 19. I decided to use the Do-A-Dots again. These things. And we made M&Ms. And I just put little M's on it. And then she tried to do her own M's. Let me make it really close so you can see well. So that was, I thought, a cute idea. So these were for her letters. This was also a fun week because we did a lot of stuff with M&Ms and she did counting with the M&Ms, and that's always fun to add in, and is a very yummy snack and motivator for older kids to get school done. Okay, so for numbers, she's to number 7, and again at the dollar spot, this isn't required or anything, but I found this cute little watermelon, and it was perfect because it's for the number 6. It's to 6, and so then you get the little slices and you put them on the correct number, and it's just kind of fun. Whoops. So anyways, that was a fun thing that I could, if I was busy switching the laundry really quick, I could have her sit and work on this while I was doing that, and then we could start school. And again, any of these extras I add in, these are not, My Father's World does not say you must get extras. I just like to share what I'm using and if it will help you at all, but it's not a necessary thing. It's just fun to add in. Okay, what else? I don't know if I've shared these before. These are for the learning book. I'm learning book, and these are really good for learning to go from left to right with writing. So they might seem kind of silly because they're just making lines, but there's actually a purpose to this, and it really helps with that dexterity and just that tracking from left to right. So I make sure she does this. It's hard when it's white because she gets really frustrated, especially if she's being patched. If you've watched any of my videos and know, she has to be patched for so many hours during the day. She can't see. She can hardly see these, but the white she really can't see, and if it's so faint, it makes it really difficult. So it is there, though. And then lastly, I wanted to share, so this is where I keep all the activity cards in. And I've been really bad about using these, and this last week I decided to pull them out. And I'm so glad I did because it gave me fresh ideas of games to use for all those educational toys. We always do the educational toys at the end, but sometimes I was kind of just doing the same games over and over again. And this gave me fresh ideas, and so make sure that if you have these, you pull them out and use them because they give fresh ideas so you're not just doing the same thing over and over again. Okay, did I get everything? It was a lot for all my preschoolers. Okay, now we're going to move on to first grade. Week 18 and 19 for Learning God's Story. Oops, sorry, glare. Okay, so she's still working through her timeline, and we've been pulling it out. I bought new markers when all of the quarantine started, so she's been definitely coloring more, especially when I'm reading the Bible stories to her, and that kind of keeps her hands busy, which helps her then. I think it just helps her mind to stay on task of listening, so she's able to recount the story to me. Not always, but sometimes. So I did also, if you haven't seen, I made a new video on updating my older daughter's timeline book that we make, and so I'll link that here, and you can see that update. It might help you out if you're still not sure how to make one of these or whatever. I show how I move pieces around and just what it looks like and how many pages. So we're still for Bible. She's working through her Bible reader, and I'm reading her the Bible story before, and she's working through her workbook, and she's doing really well. We're definitely reaching that point where it's like she's just getting it done. I'm seeing improvement in her writing and her endurance during school. She was kind of having trouble just sticking with getting all the work done, but I'm seeing there's a little bit more maturity and we're just getting it done. And I'll also share So I used to be really bad about, when I first taught this with my oldest daughter, I wouldn't give many tips for how to like say these words down here and stuff. I was very like, come on, you know them, come on, come on, come on, come on. And now that I'm teaching it a second time, I'm much more generous in my helps, and it's worth it. Help them. They don't know what they're doing. And I look back and I'm like, why didn't I just help the poor girl? But you know, I have these expectations of what it should look like, and anyways, so help them out if they need help, and you know, help out with what the sounds are, and you know, why, you know, that makes a sound, or you know, why we put football together. It's a contraction, you know, we're squeezing them together. Anyways, so don't be afraid to help them out, because I was, and it's just silly. It's just silly. They're just learning, so I can't expect her to know, I can't expect them to know everything when they're just learning. So moving on from this, because she is doing so well with this, she has liked biscuit books. And so I went to Costco the other day, and I saw that they had biscuit books. Again, we're kind of a large family, so I feel like I'm still having to go to the grocery store a lot, and even with everything going on, and I don't like it because I feel like I'm going into a war zone. But anyways, I digress. They had a box of biscuit books, and so I got it for her, and in one day she read 3 of them. So trust me, if you can stick with teaching and keeping it fun and positive, they will read. Like, this is, you know, yay, we're doing it. We're reading our Bible, which is why we learn to read, and then she's just reading other books for pleasure. And that's, you know, another part of learning to read. So I was really excited about that. So, okay. And I'll link any of this stuff below if you're interested. So that was, remember, our cake I always share. So I talked about Bible, language arts, and now we're going to move on to math. So for math, oh, I forgot. So for her Bible notebook, she's to the point where now she's writing, wait, let me double check. Yeah. She's got to write her own summary. Where am I? Here we go. She's got to write her own summary. And so I use, you can see they've already kind of scribbled it off some, but we use one of these for her to rewrite her story. So I let her dictate to me what she wants to write, and I'll write it out. And typically she can remember at least 1 or 2 facts about the story, and then I will then have her rewrite it in here. So that way she doesn't get frustrated with spelling or anything. It's already written out for her, but I still have her dictate to me. And if your child is struggling with the dictation of this, or, you know, figuring out, just say, what's one thing you remember from the story? That's what someone else told me. What's one thing you remember? You know, let's say it was Samson, okay? If the story was about Samson. Well, he had long hair. Okay, great. That is something great. And write it down and let them write that, because just if they're remembering something, like, praise them for that small remembrance, I have found is worth it. So that's what we have been doing to get this done for her to write it out. Okay, on to math. So she's been learning about place value with math. I felt like it was going to be a little difficult, but I feel like she picked it up pretty quick. The way that they show you how to do it, there was a lot of activities in here. This would then solidify the activities from in here. I felt like she really loves math. It's kind of funny. She was able to take a class online, a math class that we found, and my other daughter wanted to take other classes. And I was like, oh, there's a math class available you could take. And she was like, oh, a math class! She loves math. It's really funny. So myself and my older daughter, we were like, you're excited about math? It was just funny. Okay, so that was Bible, language arts, math, and now we're on to our sprinkles and all the fun stuff. We're still working through this, and again, we're not getting to the experiments. We're just reading this, and that's all. And then she really likes the enjoying art together. It's been really fun to do with her. We just sit. We were doing it at lunch, but we haven't as much lately, and so we've just been doing it during school time, and she really enjoys it. Oh, we kind of, she kind of lost interest in the Peter and the Wolf, so we got behind on that. And so I need to pick that back up and have her listen to it this next week, make up for it, because I think it's a really good story to learn and listen to, but we just kind of got behind on that. So, okay, so that was, I think that was all. Let's see if I missed anything. Oh, so for Bible, they'll add on these fun things to kind of solidify the story more for themselves and make it more personal for them. And so she got to learn about Joseph's family. Where'd it go? Oops. So she did her own family and her own little drawing. I just thought that was sweet. And so we put in all her family. And yeah, so that was a fun little add-on just to understand the story a little more, that Joseph had a big family, and pretty much everyone kind of has a big family with all your grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles and everything. So okay, so that was everything for my first grader. Last kid, creation to Greeks for my fourth grader. Okay, 18 and 19. So she finished up learning Psalm 23, and now we're moving on to Psalm 1. And again, I put it on that big, huge poster board. I'll share it again. Psalm 1. Okay, so that was for Bible, and we're reading through Judges, and that's just, it's always cool to read through Judges. The stories are so crazy, and it's just a fun story. They're just fun stories to learn about. So we've still been working through her English from the roots up, and she's doing really well with that and remembering the words, and so that's been good. And then, so this is what I'm excited about. I switched spelling. We dropped Natural Speller because it was not working, and we switched to Spelling Power. And I got this, if you've seen, I'll put the link up here or whatever, of my My Father's World unboxing, and I just got this for next year, but we've started using it now. I love this. I don't know why we never used this before. I know that My Father's World recommends it starting in 3rd grade. Loud car. But for some reason, I got intimidated by it. I had read reviews, and people were like, oh my word, it's so much work to get into it. So I never did it. Well, this time, I'm just going to try it. We have tried so many spelling programs. I mean, it's ridiculous. Natural Speller still wasn't working. She wasn't getting it and was still struggling with spelling. So we switched to this, and it is wonderful. Don't be intimidated by it. It does take a little while to read, and I'll even show. So I highlighted it all up. Everything I wanted to make sure I got from it, because I wanted to teach this correctly. And it also comes with a DVD you can watch. I started it, but I never finished it, but I felt like reading it, I was able to understand the concepts. So you have them take a placement test, and then you have them take what else? There's another test. A survey test. So a survey test, then a placement test. And then you get them into whichever spelling list they're on. And so she ended up coming out on list B. And she is so excited about it. So sorry, I'm showing you the dog folder. We put her stuff in here. So you don't have to do this. My Father's World says you could just use a notebook, but I liked the papers because it laid it out nicely. So you can get this daily test, and then it comes with the 10-step study sheet. And it's awesome. It really is this whole process of learning spelling, and she's just doing great with it. And she's so excited because she's actually remembering how to spell the words. So I have a bin of salt that we use, and it's not a ton of salt. Ugh. And I happen to have this little stick. You don't have to have this, but this is what she uses for the words that she gets wrong. She spells them in the salt. And then I will let her type it out on my label maker, and then we can print them out, and then she has the little words that she's working on. And she's really liking that because it's a fun little thing. Like, I got a sticker of whatever word I got wrong. So that's been fun. And then I also, another thing I've added is she can type it out on the computer, and we can print it out if she wants the words that she misspells. but it's only 4 days a week that it's scheduled. Whoops. And by then, the 4th day, she has been able to spell all of her words correctly. And so she's been pumped about it. I'm pumped about it because she's actually remembering them. So this is excellent. I may do a separate review just on spelling power. Okay, so also for language arts, we're still working through language lessons for today. Oh, this was fun. So we did get to the lesson on Ruth, and then part of this, you got to do a lesson study on this, the Gleaners, this art picture. And I just thought it was such a cool tie-in that, you know, the Bible story went from Ruth, and then we went to our language lessons, and it was a picture study on, he actually created one of Ruth, this artist, created a picture of Ruth and Boaz, and so that then took us to another step because she wanted to see that painting, and so we stopped to Google, you know, the painting of Jean-Francois Millet, that painting, and then just reading about this. And so it's just really cool how they tie it all together, where all the lessons kind of come together, and I just really appreciate that. For writing skills, she now is to a point where she's writing her own story, which was kind of fun because I was cleaning out my schoolroom because of all the, like, I have nothing else to do. So I'm gonna hide my maiden name and the gal I worked with on this. But I had to make my own story of back in 5th grade, and I found it. And so I shared my story with her about Susan Speaker. It was like a story about the Littles character. And it helped her, like, I can really do this. I can write my own story. And so she was really excited about that because this was typed up. And I had to, like, draw a picture with it. Anyways, so it was fun to, like, show her, like, oh, you can do this because I have done it. So, you know, let's work a little harder and put the effort in, because then you can make your own really fun story. And so she was doing that, and she's actually trying to type it up herself, which is a little hard because we haven't done a ton of typing, but it's a good lesson. Okay, so that was Bible and language arts. She also, part of language arts or English, I guess, she started reading this, The Trojan Horse. She was not a fan of this story, but she did read it. It said to have them read it to you, and she didn't. We just ran out of time, and I just needed her to get read, and she did. So whatever, it got read. But she would then explain to me what she read. Let's see, through history, she's still liking streams of civilization and the ancient world. She really just enjoys when she can sit and just listen to me read aloud. She really, I think if I was better about getting just audiobooks for her, I think she would just sit and listen to those. On to math. She's still working through Gamma, and we're still really liking this for her. It's been really good for me too, because watching his videos has helped me teach math better. I also found, I had gotten these, I think with, I don't know, was it last year's stuff? Maybe Exploring Countries and Cultures, these fast facts, and I totally forgot about them. And then I saw someone had asked a question about them on Facebook, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to pull those back out. So I pulled these back out, and she's been working through them. And she's not a huge fan of them, but she's getting them done. We were using an app on the computer, not an app, a website. But this is a little easier to just hand her the clipboard and say, do your fast facts, and then she can grade it herself. Okay, so that was Bible, math, and English. Everything else. I had bought this book off of Amazon. It's a heavy book. Kids yelling. On Greek myths. And so we've been reading through this at lunchtime, or as we read through other stories, it's kind of been nice to be like, oh, let's read about Athena, or who else is in here? Hercules, and the oh, what was he? The big ox guy. Oh, Europa and Cadmus we read about. Anyways, there was the Minotaur. So we read that from here. And I have another Greek one that we read from, I'll grab that, because I like to see all the books. So we read through this one, The Gods and Goddesses of Olympus by Aliki. The stories are always so weird, these ancient Greek ones. You know, people eating their babies, because that's totally normal. They're weird stories. Okay, so there was that, and then she's still working through her art book. she did not get through her nature study stuff. So we're gonna have to go back and do that, but we're still really liking this history art book. And for science, I'll add a picture here. My husband's taken over science, and it's been wonderful. He's doing awesome. And so I told him to really pay attention so that he can do a review video with me of the science in the beginning and give his opinion on it and what he thinks of it. So I've done some of it so I can give my opinion, but I want to hear his opinion on it, and I thought you guys would like to hear his opinion as well. That is it. That was a lot. This video is far too long, so I apologize. But I hope that this was helpful to you guys, and let me know where you are at and how are you guys doing with all this crazy virus stuff. Are you shelter in place? I don't know if every state is shelter in place or if it's just a few. I've tried to really stay off the news because it makes me a little crazy. Anywho, I hope you have a fabulous week and check out these other videos, and I hope to see you at the next video. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.